Every stockpiling guide on the internet is obsessed with one number: how many years a food can sit on a shelf without going bad. White rice gets praised because it lasts 3 decades. Sugar gets praised because it basically lasts forever. Pancake mix gets recommended because it is cheap and familiar. Almost none of those guides ask the question that actually matters once you are depending on that food every single morning. Is it doing anything for your body, or is it just calories that happen to survive? That is the gap this list closes. These are the 8 foods worth building a breakfast stockpile around, not because they outlast everything else in your pantry, but because of what they actually deliver once you are eating from them day after day. Some of these will surprise you. One of them is not even food in the way you would normally think about it. It is alive, sitting dormant on a shelf, waiting for water to wake it up. That one sits at the very top, and once you understand why it is there, the rest of your stockpile starts to look different. Let us start at the bottom.
Number 8. Dried fruit. Plain oatmeal will keep you alive. Oatmeal with dried fruit stirred in is something you will actually want to eat, morning after morning for as long as you need to. That distinction matters more than people give it credit for. A stockpile only works if you keep reaching for it. Dried fruit is not just sugar wearing a healthy disguise. Raisins, dried apricots, cranberries, and apple slices hold on to a meaningful share of their original fiber, along with real amounts of potassium and iron, the kind of micronutrients that matter more than usual when stress is high and fresh produce is hard to come by. Properly dried and sealed, it lasts 1 to 2 years without any special treatment, and freeze-dried versions, packed away from oxygen, stretch to 25 years. The mistake that quietly ruins this one? Buying the variety coated in vegetable oil to stop it from clumping. The fruit itself would have stored fine. The oil does not. It goes rancid long before the fruit underneath ever would, and it takes the whole bag down with it, leaving you with something that smells off before you have even opened the container.
Number 7. Canned and freeze-dried fruit. Here is a gap almost nobody plans for. Vitamin C is water-soluble, which means your body cannot store it. It has to come in regularly through food, or it does not come in at all. And it happens to be one of the most fragile, time-sensitive vitamins in any kind of long-term storage. A stockpile built mainly on rice, oats, and wheat, which is exactly how most people build theirs, delivers almost none of it. The symptoms of a slow vitamin C shortfall do not show up immediately either. They build quietly over weeks, which makes the gap easy to miss until it is already a problem. Canned fruit helps. It stores reliably for a year or 2 and gives you real nutrition along with quick energy, though the syrup some brands pack it in adds sugar you do not necessarily need. But freeze-dried fruit does something canning cannot. Canning relies on sustained heat, and heat is exactly what destroys water-soluble vitamins. Freeze-drying pulls moisture out at low temperatures instead, which means dramatically more of the original vitamin content survives the process. Freeze-dried strawberries or blueberries, sealed away from air in mylar, can hold on to meaningful vitamin C for 25 years, a timeline almost nothing else in this category gets close to. For breakfast, this becomes your oatmeal topping.
Number 6. Non-fat powdered milk. In any serious disruption, fresh milk disappears from store shelves almost immediately, and it is also one of the first things to spoil once it is already in your kitchen. Powdered milk solves both problems at once, and it does it cheaply. Without water in the picture, there is almost nothing left for bacteria to work with. Stored well, non-fat dry milk lasts 2 to 10 years, and sealed in mylar with oxygen absorbers, a good product can push past 20. Reconstituted, it gives you real protein and calcium, nutrients your body draws on constantly for muscle function and bone maintenance, the kind of nutrition that turns a pile of dry grain into something it can actually run on. It also doubles as the base for pancake batter, and is something drinkable entirely on its own, which matters more than it sounds when hot food is not an option. The detail most people get backwards: whole milk powder still contains milk fat, and fat goes rancid. For anything stored long-term, non-fat is the only version that makes real sense. You trade a little richness for years of extra stability, and that trade is almost always worth it. Just do not leave an open bag exposed to air. Powdered milk pulls moisture aggressively, clumps fast, and degrades well ahead of schedule once humidity gets in. So reseal it tightly and keep a small desiccant packet.
Number 5. Peanut butter or powdered peanut butter. 2 tablespoons get you 8 grams of protein and around 200 calories for roughly 8 cents. Very little else in a breakfast stockpile comes close to that ratio, and it is the difference between a bowl of plain oatmeal and one that actually keeps you full for hours instead of one. Here is the part most people miss until it is too late. Regular peanut butter, even sealed, even stored well, is a 1 to 2 year food. The natural oils eventually turn, and there is no fixing it once they do. Powdered peanut butter solves that problem because most of the oil gets pressed out before the peanuts are dried into powder, and the oil was the only part that was ever going to spoil in the first place. Packed in Mylar, the powdered version lasts a decade or more, and you add water back in whenever you actually need it, getting essentially the same protein and calorie contribution as the original. Keep regular peanut butter in rotation, eaten and replaced every year or so. Keep the powdered version in deep storage, stable and waiting in the background. Same nutritional purpose, 2 entirely different roles in the system, and mixing them up is how people end up disappointed by a jar that turned rancid right when they needed it.
Number 4. Rolled oats. If one food anchors a serious breakfast stockpile, this is it. And the math alone makes the case. A large canister runs $4 or $5 and gives you 25 to 30 servings, which works out to roughly 15 to 20 cents a breakfast. Nothing else on this list touches that cost per calorie, and very little in any grocery store does either. Most people never discover what happens when oats are stored correctly because they never bother. Left in the original container, oats last 1 to 2 years. Fine for rotation, but nothing special. Transfer the same oats into Mylar with an oxygen absorber, and that timeline jumps to 25 or 30 years. The mechanism is simple. The natural oils in oats go rancid through oxidation, and removing the oxygen stops that reaction before it ever starts. The oats just sit there, effectively unaware that time is passing. Beyond storage, oats carry a type of soluble fiber that does real, measurable work for blood sugar and cholesterol, which is part of why they earn a spot on a list built around health rather than just longevity. Skip the flavored instant packets. They cost 3 or 4 times more per serving. The added sugar degrades over time, and the variety that looked appealing in the store stops mattering the moment you are actually relying on the food to get you through the morning.
Number 3. Whole wheat berries. This is where the nutrition case gets stronger, but it asks a little more of you. Whole, unground wheat kernels, sealed away from oxygen and moisture, last 30 years or more, and there are documented archaeological cases of wheat staying structurally viable across centuries. The kernel is its own packaging. The outer bran layer seals the oils and nutrients inside, away from the oxidation that would otherwise break them down, which is also why whole wheat carries more fiber, B vitamins, and magnesium than anything refined. The moment that kernel gets ground into flour, that seal is gone, and flour starts degrading within months instead of decades. Same wheat, completely different timeline, decided entirely by whether the kernel is whole or ground at the time you put it away. Here is the catch. To actually use wheat berries as flour, you need a hand grain mill, which is really the companion purchase that makes this item fully functional as a baking ingredient. Without one, you can still cook the berries whole, boiled into a hearty, chewy breakfast cereal that is genuinely filling on its own.
Number 2. Powdered egg. Eggs carry all 9 essential amino acids and a protein quality that almost nothing else in a stockpile matches, which makes them one of the most nutritionally complete breakfast foods that exist. They are also, in their fresh form, almost impossible to store. Refrigerated, they last weeks. At room temperature, days, which used to mean most people simply wrote eggs off as a fresh-only food. Whole egg powder, dried and sealed in Mylar with oxygen absorbers, changes that completely, staying shelf-stable for 5 to 15 years, with freeze-dried versions reaching the upper end of that range and beyond. Reconstituted with a bit of water, it makes workable scrambled eggs, but its bigger job is acting as the binding protein in anything baked: pancake batter, biscuits, whatever flour-based food you are making from the rest of this stockpile. Stirred straight into oatmeal or porridge, it adds a protein boost that genuinely changes what that meal does for your body over the course of a day.
Number 1. Sprouting seeds. Every food on this list so far shares the same limitation. No matter how well it is sealed, how long it lasts, or how carefully you store it, it is preserved, dried, powdered, canned, sealed away from air. Over months of relying on a stockpile like that, one thing quietly disappears from your plate: fresh, living produce, and the nutrients that only living food can provide. Your calories hold up, your protein holds up, but your body is slowly running short on something none of the other 7 items here can replace. That is the gap sprouting seeds close. A small sealed bag of alfalfa, broccoli, or mung bean seeds meant specifically for sprouting costs a few dollars and stays viable for 4 to 5 years or more, sitting dormant on a shelf, asking nothing of you the entire time. Then you add water. In 3 to 5 days, in nothing more than a glass jar with a mesh lid, a tablespoon of seeds becomes a dense cluster of living sprouts, and you can run that same jar through another batch the moment it is empty. Broccoli sprouts carry meaningful vitamin C and compounds nutritional researchers take seriously. Alfalfa sprouts are rich in vitamin K. Mung bean sprouts bring folate and protein. No soil, no sunlight, no equipment beyond a jar and clean water in any season, in any apartment, including during a power outage. Every other item on this list is stable because its biological activity has been paused. This is the only one that wakes up the moment you decide you need it to.
Put together, these 8 cover the things a breakfast actually needs to do: fiber and steady calories from oats and wheat berries, complete protein from eggs and peanut butter, calcium and protein again from powdered milk, vitamin C from the fruit, and one food that is genuinely alive, ready to grow the moment you decide you need it. Notice what is not here. White rice lasts longer than almost anything on this list, and it still did not make the cut, because longevity alone was never the point of this video. Sugar lasts forever too, and it is not here either. The foods that survive the longest in a pantry are not always the ones worth building your health around, and that distinction is exactly what separates this list from the usual stockpiling advice. You do not need all 8 on day 1. Pick 2 or 3, build them in over the next couple of months, and let the rotation stock and the deep storage layers grow side by side rather than all at once. If you want to know which item surprised you most, drop it in the comments. I read them and they shape what gets covered next.